Hey guys, Kid here of Burn 1 with another deck profile. This time we're taking a look at the new Bang Dream set. This deck is mostly red with a splash of blue, mostly for the in-game Yukina that has a really strong gate combo involved with it. So let's just dive into the deck. Here at 0 we have, I'd consider a really strong level 0 game as far as plussing goes. So we run 4 mill runners. It's a standard 2/5 mill top card of your deck. If it's a music character, you can move it to an empty slot in the front row. We have a free runner in the set that's 2k power from the trial deck. That card is also okay to run over this card. Currently I'm running the mill runner because I kind of feel it adds a little bit more utility being able to mill, and also it has 500 more power, so when we do buff it up by 500 or even 1k, it does get over most beaters at 0. Next, we run 4 of the TD level 0 bomb. The reason we run 4 is mostly for the blue color fix because we do have a blue top in, so we need to make sure we hit the blue. The second reason is as a secondary effect, which is one of I consider a really strong plussing effect, which is whenever this during the start of your encore step, or any encore step actually, if you have no other rested front row characters, you can pay 1 to rest this card. So it's essentially a pay 1/1, and it does kill your opponent's character most of the time. So it makes it a really strong opener too, because you can just play this, attack into an empty slot, then pass turn, and then if they want to kill it, you can, as long as their level 0 isn't a level, gets a level, then you'll be able to bottom deck it, then pay 1 to plus a card, which in turn generates more stock and more damage and so forth. So the goal of the deck really is to have a really aggressive start and just keep that aggression going because of the way you recycle your climax combos in this deck. Next, we do run 3 of this Kasumi from set 1, which is On Death Ricky. So when this goes from field to waiting room, you pay 1, clock yourself, and then you can salvage essentially any character from the Poppin' Party group. Another strong opener because it's not on play. You can play this as a turn 1 play, attack, and then pay out whatever stock you did trigger. We use this a lot of times to get back parts of our level 1 combo, or even pick up level 3 or 2 pieces, since this is only name restricted instead of level restricted. The card would be a lot better if it was on play, but unfortunately it's on death, so we do what we can with what we have. Right there, these are like our main attackers. We have 11 plussing level 0s right out of the gate. So generally, almost every opening hand you have, you'll have a way to plus starting from level 0. So that will generate you advantage over the game. Next, we run some of these utility cards here. The first one being this level 0 PR card that was released, I believe it was a shop event promo for the, one of the months. This card effect is absolutely crazy in my opinion. I can't believe they printed this and then printed more support for Bang Dream Party, especially the level 1 combo that goes with this PR. So when this card comes into play, you can give another character 1000 power, which is pretty silly with the secondary effect already being so strong. The secondary effect is if you have another character with one of the Poppin' Party girls in the name, then you can discard 2 cards from your hand to search your deck for the level 1 Christmas Kasumi that climax combos with gate, and the event that it climax combos with, and add it to your hand. So not only does this provide free filter for you, it makes your level 1 combo extremely consistent. The only thing you really have to worry about is finding the gate in your opening hand, which is pretty easy to do since you can actually aggressively mulligan with this deck, because your event combo actually salvages from waiting room, so you can always pick up pieces back from your hand for your level 1 combo. And then you also have the On Death Ricky, which also lets you grab other pieces if need be. So it's very easy to aggressive mulligan for your level 1 game, which is the most scariest part about this game, since the level 1 game actually just lets you ignore your opponent completely once you start playing it. Next, we play 4 of this Salvage Brainstorm. It's anytime during your climax phase, or the start of your climax phase, you can give 1 character 500 power. 500 power is really negligent. It can make some of your lanes, depending on the order you play your level 1 game, up to 8k. Besides that, it's a pay 1 tap self brainstorm. cards with that just tap itself for brainstorm are always really good. It's a mill 4, salvage a character. Because this deck mills a lot of cards all the time, most of the time you'll always have cards that you're looking for from the waiting room, so it does end up always getting things you need instead of having to search your deck. Finally, we play a one of here of this level 0 PR, which is on play top check if it's a music character or the 1/0 event you can add to your hand and discard a card. The fact that it actually grabs the event too helps your deck become more consistent too. So when you do reveal an event, it doesn't really hurt you. You can get the event to your hand, and then you can play the event immediately after to salvage stuff from your waiting room, which is great. It makes it amazing. This level 0 game, honestly, in my opinion, is super good. The only way this gets any better, which I should be getting soon from my friend Dean, who came back from Japan, is that they did release recently a level 0 promo, which is a Kasumi card. I forgot the power of it. It's probably 2K. It's on play. You can discard a climax to salvage any character from your waiting room. That in combo with the 1/0 from the climax combo and the event make it so you essentially can salvage anything you want as long as you have a climax in your hand to discard, which is happens fairly easy with this deck because we do run blue gates. Alright guys, now let's get into the level 1 game. This is the part of the deck that I think is the reason this deck will probably stay a meta deck for a very long time, especially the fact that this deck's top end has so many different options right now for you to choose from that it should be able to combat almost any meta for the most part. So the first thing we're going to look at here is the 1/0 Christmas Kasumi. It's 4,500 power base. It has an effect that once a turn, this effect activates up to 2 times a turn. Whenever another music character comes into play, you can give this card 1,000 power. So most of the time it's a 1065, which is already 500 overstated for a costless card. But on top of that, we're playing a combo that also combos with Gate, which is a great trigger. It's on attack. You can salvage this 1/0 event from your waiting room and add it to your hand. For those that have been playing the game a while, this event is essentially Operation Tornado. The effect is essentially mill the top 3 cards of your deck and then salvage a character that's level X or lower, where X is equal to the number of music characters you milled from this effect. So you can salvage anything from a level 0 to a level 3, depending on the number you do mill. This combo is so great because what essentially happens here is that we always consistently mill our deck enough at level 1 to consistently refresh at 1/6 or sooner. That way, making sure that we keep as many cards out of our deck as possible, and also hurrying up through our deck to avoid the first shuffle of our deck, which is usually the worst compression wise. Secondly, this card essentially always at least hits 1 music character, so you always can get back the 1/0 combo. And because the combo is so weak on defensively, you can just cycle the event back and forth to just keep getting the combo. So that way, if you get multiple gates, you can keep doing the combo and essentially have a field that just like never dies for the most part, because it's always getting it, essentially itself back to your hand or something else that's very good. Great thing about the combo too is because it combos with red gate. It's a 1K one. That way, if played correctly, your level 1 game is usually 7-5 on attacking, sometimes 8K, depending if you have the brainstorm out and stuff like that. So it's big enough to get over most things. It's 500 power over most plussing combos. And then also, worst case scenario is you don't get a reverse something off of it, but the combo is uninteractive, being that as long as you have the gate out and you attack, you get the card back to your hand. So you consistently keep cycling the 1/0 back to your hand and the event, and just swapping back and forth until you shape your hand the way you want, or you just keep having extra attacks every time you have a blue or a red gate out. The way this combo works, you hardly ever use any other level 1 cards, but we do have a couple other cards just in case if the combo falls apart. We run 2 of this 1/0 Kasumi from the new set. It gets 500 power for every other music character, so essentially it's a 1065 with the full field. Its base power is 4/5. We run this just in case if we don't have the combo or we need other level 1 targets to get back to our hand to be able to attack that turn. And then finally, we run 3 of the blue 2K counter. The reason we run 3 is mostly, once again, for color fix. And besides that, it's a 2K counter, and we use the 2K counter most of the time just to protect our level 3 game more than anything, because we do play an early play level 3. As of this recording, that's how the version of the deck I currently was running. Once I get my other cards in, most likely we're going to be cutting down this counter to 2, because it's actually not as useful at level 1 unless you're playing the other 1-0 Kasumi that becomes 6-5 with a full field to be able to protect that and stop things. Because most of the time, 1-0 6-5 isn't enough when you counter with the 1-0 Christmas Kasumi to really stop much things. Occasionally it happens where you're like, sweet, I get a counter here, and you know their 6K loses to my 6-5. But it doesn't happen enough where you should be running 3 of this counter. And now we're at the level 2 game. The level 2 game is somewhat standard for the most part. There's not really much going on here. We still run this 2-1 blue on reverse. If the battle opponent of this is higher than its opponent's level, you can bottom deck it. We play the Japanese format, so we just need one kind of out to Vivid Strike, because if Vivid Strike goes off, then you just get really sad. So with this, you still have an out to Vivid Strike. It's also fairly easy to get to your hand consistently because you have so many ways to salvage it through the events and brainstorm and hitting gates like that. Next, we still run this 2-1 free fresh counter. It's 2-1-2-5 counter at level 2, but you can also pay 2 to shuffle your deck when you use this or reshuffle your deck. We just get this because it's a good card to pick up through gates and stuff like that, especially if you like triple trigger the turn before and then your opponent attacks into your character. You just pay 3, you can pay out the climaxes and then refresh your deck. It's essentially like a pay or a heal 1 and also get better compression, sorta. So it's still a good card, and it wins you games sometimes just from being able to free refresh. Next is the new card that people will see. It's a 2-1 level support. Cards in front of this gain 500 times the character's level. It has a secondary effect, which is the reason we completely play this card. It's so that our opponent can't screw up our level 3 game at all, and it also protects our early plays a little bit because of this effect. You can rest this card and another character, and then as long as you have an event in the waiting room, you can pay the cost. You can give a character 500 power and the effect that during battle your opponent can't use events or counters from their hand. So this is really good at protecting early play level 3s, because now your opponent, when you attack with your level 3 early play, they can't counter it or anything like that to prevent it from getting its damage and its stock. That way, if you have one out, you can protect that one, and then you attack another lane after that, and so essentially you still get all your attacks, and they still have to waste a bunch of resources just to kill the level 3, even though you've already got what you wanted out of the level 3, which is great. It also protects our level 3 combo for finishing the game, Yukina. That way, make sure we get a reverse off, because our level 3 game does require reverse targets to be able to go off. And then we're going on to level 3 here. This is from set 1. It's the early play level 3 in red. It's basically vanilla healer at 2. If you have 4 or more other music characters on the field, this gets -1 level in your hand, so you can early play it fairly consistently and very easily. As long as your field has 2 or more music characters on it, then it gains 1k, so it's 10k base, which is like nothing. That's why we do play those mini 1-0 2k counters to protect this card essentially. And then on play heal. This with the support, the 2-1 support, makes it really hard for your opponent to kill it when you early play it, which is great. So even if they do kill it, you don't really care, because you can usually cycle it around or whatever you want to do with it, and you've already got what you wanted out of it. Finally, the top end of the deck of choice right now is this level 3 Yukina. It's a fairly scary effect. During your turn, for every other music character you have, this card gains 500, so it's 9-5 base, and then with a full field, it becomes 11-5, which is a decent power. The secondary effect is it does heal. Always great to have a finisher and a healer in the same card. And then it has a climax combo with Blue Gate, which is when the battle opponent of this becomes reversed and you have the climax out, you can pay cost, which is pay 3 and discard 2 cards from your hand. If you do, then your opponent takes 2 damage 2 times. So it's burn two, burn two. It's pretty scary. It's kind of like the rabbit house effect, except on a reverse instead. And instead of pinging for 1 twice, it pings for 2 twice, which is pretty scary for the most part. A lot of games, if you're behind or ahead, this card can seal the deal for you just because of how scary it is, especially if you get more than 1 off at level 3. I feel like you should basically win the game at that point, because your opponent wasn't able to defend themselves against the combo. And most of the time with the 2-1 support, which is very important, it's the whole reason we even run 2 of the 2-1 support, is so we can make sure to get into our hand at some point, is to make sure that this card gets the effect so they can't use any backups or any special effects or anything like that. That way you can guarantee you can at least get 1 reverse off with the combo, so you can get the burn 2 twice. So in worst case scenario is you essentially have 5 attacks sorta at level 3 as long as you get 1 combo off. And then it gets pretty crazy if you ever get to the point where you can actually play 3 of these and go off. I've done that 2 or 3 games now, because the way the deck works, everything's so costless. It's fairly easy to build up 12 stock at the start of level 3. If you have 12 stock and these cards, then you're set. You can pay for the cost 3 times and your opponent just loses from there, because that there is essentially 9 attacks, 3-2-2, 3-2-2, 3-2-2, which is pretty lethal at that point. And then, like I said, finally we run 4 blue gate and 4 red gate. The reason we pick up Yukina as our finisher is because actually having blue gate in this deck is really, really, really good. Not for the fact that it just makes our level 1 combo more consistent. It's the fact that at any point in the game, if you get this back, you trigger a blue gate and you get a red gate back to your hand, that essentially pluses, it doesn't plus you 3 cards, but it makes it so you can keep cycling your combo consistently. Games where you can combo off through like 3 times in a row with your 1-0s is really silly, because it gives you time to essentially shape your hand for the level 3 end game, but also just cycle your deck over and over again and getting the 1-0 combo back over and over again, and then you're just constantly plussing off of it because you don't need a reverse. So it's a really silly cycle once you see it happens, and it's really, really annoying. I'm pretty sure once this set comes out in English, it's going to be top tier for the most part. I don't know what version of the deck will be top tier, but I can imagine a version like this being top tier. If they print the level 0 PR in English, that ditches 2 to search for your level 1 combo in the event, at that point I think the deck should be top tier in English. If it doesn't, there's a couple other versions out there for this deck that could essentially be top tier, even not playing this level 1 combo. But yeah, so I went undefeated with this deck at locals, and I've play tested it a lot, and honestly love this deck a lot. I'm tweaking it a little bit and picking up some more cards for it, and when those tweaks happen, I'll probably have another video out. I'll be testing some other top end level 3s that seem very scary, because there is a Musashi in the set in yellow. There is a scary level 2 early play combo that negs soul everywhere and gets really, really big, so you can wall out your opponent at 2. And then there's another combo that's with gate, so if you feel like running 8 gate, you can run the level 3 Kasumi that burns depending on the number of events in waiting room, which is also very scary because you can control your damage output at level 3 a lot with the combo, and can ping all the time for precise damage to end the game. Well, though, that's it for this deck profile. I hope you guys enjoy it, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Later. Thanks for watching, guys. If you want to support our content, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, as it does help us to grow. And if you're feeling a little bit more generous, check out our Patreon at patreon.com/burn1.